Walk into most museums today and you will find the same experience your grandparents had: glass cases, wall text, a gift shop, and a suggested donation box. Meanwhile, every other entertainment and education industry has been revolutionized by technology, personalization, and digital first business models. The museum industry is not just behind, it is structurally incapable of catching up without fundamental changes. Nearly one-third of U.S. museums reported decreased attendance in 2025. Total revenue for the nonprofit culture sector fell by 36% between 2019 and 2024 when adjusted for inflation. One-third of museums have lost federal grants. The business model is broken. Most museums operate as nonprofits relying on a patchwork of government grants, private donations, endowment income, and admission fees. There is no recurring revenue, no subscriptions, no data monetization. Every dollar must be fundraised, granted, or earned from foot traffic, which is seasonal and increasingly competitive. Museum boards are composed of donors and academics, not technologists or product designers. Decision-making is slow and risk-averse. And the nonprofit structure creates a paradox. Museums that generate too much revenue risk losing their tax-exempt status. The funding crisis is accelerating. Corporate and foundation giving is declining. After-school programs and veteran services have been cut. New exhibitions are stalled. Federal arts funding faces recurring threats. Private philanthropy, which was supposed to be the safety net, is increasingly directed toward tech, health, and climate rather than cultural institutions. The technology gap is where the 30 years behind label becomes literal. Collections management systems are decades old, proprietary, and poorly integrated. There is no common standard and no interoperability between institutions. As one museum technologist wrote, museum technology infrastructure is bad. Everything is harder than it should be. Most museums treat their website as a brochure and their data as something that lives in spreadsheets. They cannot compete with tech industry salaries, creating a vicious cycle where outdated systems persist because no one with the skills to replace them will accept museum wages. Beyond money and technology, museums face an identity crisis. In a world where you can learn anything on YouTube and explore the Louvre on Google Arts and Culture, the traditional museum visit feels passive and one-directional. 79% of people are interested in using digital tools to explore collections not currently accessible. This raises an uncomfortable question. If you can see a painting in more detail on your phone, what is the museum's value proposition? But not everything is doom and gloom. The Prado Museum launched a VR experience in 2025. Over 70% of museums plan to integrate AI and AR technologies. A new sector called cult tech is emerging with startups building technology for cultural institutions. Open access movements at the Met, the Rijksmuseum, and the Smithsonian have actually increased engagement and driven physical visits. The future requires museums to rethink 5 things. First, revenue models through digital subscriptions and premium virtual tours. Second, shared technology infrastructure, an AWS for museums. Third, competitive tech roles with real salaries. Fourth, hybrid experiences where digital enhances the physical visit. And fifth, governance reform with technologists and product thinkers on museum boards. The museum industry has survived plagues, wars, and revolutions. It can survive the digital age too, but only if it stops treating technology as a threat and starts treating it as the greatest opportunity for cultural preservation and access in human history. Read the full analysis at ThinkSmart.Life/research.